Okay, it's time to take a look at the IRB process. And when you're completing IRB, what you're going to do is complete the documentation, the application for McKendree's IRB. You're going to submit it to me and I'm going to review it. And then after it's approved, you're going to copy and paste the information from your IRB document into the e-form in the McKendree website for IRB. So we're going to do the process outside of the e-form to start out with to make sure that we have everything in order for submission. So you will actually complete the IRB form here and you'll submit that to me for review, and we'll probably go back and forth a couple of times, and that's to be expected. The other thing is, when you are completing the form, please use the IRB checklist. There are key components that the IRB committee looks for in the application process, and this checklist is here to help you to be successful so that we can go very smoothly through the IRB process. And again, it needs to be very detailed. The application needs to be very detailed and specific. And the primary purpose of IRB, of course, is to protect your participants. So many of the components that we're looking for are those components to protect your participants. So just kind of keep that in mind and keep that as the frame as you're completing your IRB documents. With that, not only are you going to be submitting the form itself, the IRB application form, you're also going to be completing any kind of, or including as an attachment, any kind of tool or survey that you use. You need to also include permissions for those surveys or tools if you're using someone else's, and also your consent form. And you can do a traditional informed consent, and just know that there are samples here in this section that you actually can use and basically fill in your information. This is the typical informed consent, and then there's also tacit approval. So tacit approval is actually when you don't require a signature, that your participants are actually indicating that they have informed consent by completing your survey or the tool or the assessment that you're doing. And the tacit approval informed consent indicates that they agree that they've been informed, they have all the contact information that they need, and by completing the survey or the tool, they are consenting to participate in your study or your project. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. But that is a really good way to actually do anonymous surveys, which are very valuable, especially if you have supervisory roles over those folks that are completing the surveys. So just kind of keep that in mind. You'll also include an attachment if you're doing an introductory email. You will get a letter of permission from your organization or IRB approval from your organization. And there are some variances as far as the organization requirements. The McKendree IRB does require at least a letter from your organization saying that you have permission to complete your project. You will also be including a debrief with your application process. And again, there's a format for the debrief that you can enter your information on the debrief itself. And just remember that this is a very specific thing that McKendree requires as far as the structure of the debrief. So just follow the sample or the template and you will be fine. The other thing is there may be some other requirements depending on what your project may be as far as attachments, and I found that it's always better to attach a little more than you need than not to have enough. And again, go back to that IRB checklist that's right here and make sure that you have all those components that you need to have in your application so that we can have smooth sailing going on through the IRB process. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns about completing the IRB process, just let me know. Thank you so much. Take care now.